up, though? Power and Prosperity family, you are tuned into the podcast Perspective with Cassie BhadraKali. Because it's our first episode, I'm going to go ahead and give a little rundown about what we finna do. This podcast is always going to be me either presenting my perspective on a given topic or providing you with information to challenge, strengthen, shift, and expand your own perspective. Topics will vary widely from the highly informative to the moderately irreverent, but they'll always be real, and we'll try and have a decent time while we do it. I encourage you to do your own research always, to request topics, ask questions, like, comment, and share, and all that other jazz they be saying on here. Don't forget to subscribe. Sometimes there will be some things on here that you could not want to miss. Sometimes it might be something you don't really want to listen to. That's cool. Don't watch that one then. Because some of y'all watching this might not know me, I'm going to give you a little bit about myself. Most of y'all watching this initially are going to be people who I already know a long time, been asking me to do this for a few years now, and so here we are. The three most important things for me to say in this context anyway are going to be that I am the mother to my most favorite God and guru, Anastasia Yanani. She will make appearances on the podcast and will be brought up when it's relevant. I'm a multifaceted and passionate person. I'm knowledgeable on a lot of things, and I have a lot of really strong opinions. So, know that. What else? Oh, I do what I want, but I also do whatever it takes. That could be said. 100. And then this isn't a platform solely about me, so I'm not really finna get on here and discuss, my 100%, all my feelings on a thing. I think that that's boring, gratuitous, and slightly narcissistic. I will give my opinion on things, especially things that people have asked me about or things that people have heard me talk about, and they say, oh, you should talk about that so people could hear that opinion or that side of a thing. So like I said, I'm here to offer up my perspective when it comes to those types of things. But I ain't here to just talk about me, and a lot of times I'm not even going to talk about the fullness of what I think about a thing, because if it's not productive, I'm going to just leave it. That's for me and my people to talk about, in a more intimate setting sometimes. Let's see what else. I don't always speak like this. Some of y'all tuning in might be like, that's not what... No, I don't always sound the same. Code switching is a mug. This is, I'm from New York, so this is what I could sound like too. I don't know what else to say about that. If you only got one voice, you probably beige and a little lackluster. No matter what I sound like, everything I say, I mean. I do know that much. And because it's relevant to this podcast, my daughter and I are completely plant-based. We follow an ITIL diet, and we'll get into the nitty-gritty of that a little bit further on. So let's start this reasoning. Now, this first one I'm doing on nutrition because I get asked a lot of questions about that. It seemed like not a very controversial subject, and it's one that people have debated about and discussed for a long time, and I don't foresee them stopping anytime in the near future. So let's get on it. Now, the definition of nutrition, I'm going to glance at my notes I got down here looking off to the side so that I don't get too off track, like I know I've been known to do every once in a while. The definition of nutrition: food and nourishment necessary for health and growth, as well as maintenance, reproduction, and disease, or nourishment or energy obtained from food consumed. So that being said, they say nutrition is 75% opinion, and it's true that everywhere you go, everyone you talk to, they have their own way of doing things, their own way of thinking about the thing, and that's cool. That's everyone's prerogative. We're going to be talking about some of my perspectives here and some scientific facts, right? So let's address the scientific facts first. You can survive and thrive without animal products. Now, some people would want to debate this and say that there are things that we get from animal products, the consumption of animal products that we cannot get from the consumption of plants. So I'm going to just address that real quick. So this is going to be a heavy note. I don't want to mess none of that up. So there's going to be a heavy note reference while I look away. Y'all got this scenery to gaze at anyway. Things like taurine, carnosine, creatine. These are things that people say we can only get from the consumption of animal products. Those are actually all considered non-essential minerals in the body because our body will synthesize those when given the proper nutrients with which to do so, right? DHA fatty acids, that's available through microalgae, flaxseed, chia seed, walnuts, so you don't have to eat no fish to get those things. The fish are getting it from the microalgae. What else? B12. B12 is a big one that people be saying that you have to consume animal products or fortified animal products in order to get. That's not entirely true. Seaweed, certain mushrooms, banana peels, all have B12 in them. B12 is made by bacteria, right? Whether it's in soil or in certain ecosystems and environments. Again, a lot of times your food is being fortified with the B12. That's where you're getting it, or the animals are synthesizing it from the things that they are eating, just like your body would synthesize it from the things that you were going to be eating if you are eating a proper and well-rounded diet. Let's see. You cannot, however, right? All right, so check it. It's kind of like simple. You could ask like a third grader, if you ate nothing but meat or animal products for a prolonged period of time, what would happen to you? And you know, inevitably, someone gonna say you're gonna get scurvy, you're gonna get this, you're gonna get that. Your body cannot survive and get all the nutrients that it needs from animal products alone. We even see that just with diets that are heavy in animal product consumption, that they lead to a lot of disease. You know, they don't give you everything that you need. You'll be deficient in a lot of vitamins and minerals if that's what you are solely relying on, right? And so when you don't eat enough fruits and vegetables, you know, you are at higher risk for nutrient deficiencies, increased weight gain and obesity. You are at risk for digestive issues and diseases like diverticulosis and hemorrhoids. You know, if you're not consuming enough fiber, your digestive system is in trouble. And animal products don't provide you with no type of fiber, right? You also have higher risk of stroke, high blood pressure, type 2 diabetes, and other things like this. You know, your body needs plant material, right? Check these teeth. Those aren't the teeth of a carnivore. So we are supposed to be ingesting lots of plants, fruits and vegetables. Now even modern science, even people who will tell you that you should be eating meat, will tell you that you also need to be consuming fruits and vegetables. I ain't here to tell nobody what to do. Y'all want to eat meat? Eat whatever you want. I don't care what nobody do. All right? And I don't want no one telling me how to do my shit. I'm not finna tell nobody how to do theirs. Simple as that. I'm just here, like I said, to provide my perspective and some simple science for you to consider possibly shifting yours and improving your quality of life. Because that's what it's really about for real. Now, I don't even need to touch on the cultural and spiritual reasons for the information that I'm going to be providing and the perspective that I'm discussing, which is, you know, a proper plant-based diet, whole foods diet, or whatever the case may be, because the health facts alone kind of make the case for it. You know, reasons that people are even concerned about nutrition or debate about nutrition range from everywhere from they concerned with what they look like and their physical appearance to health, whether it be therapeutic, they addressing a disease that runs in their family or one that they personally are struggling with, or preventative because they don't want to deal with disease and struggle with these types of things. Improve performance, whether it be athletic, mental, or sexual. These things are all affected by the foods that we consume and how we choose to fuel our bodies, right? Generational prosperity. The way that we eat affects our children. What we do is most likely going to shape what they do, right? And so if you're in a family that comes from a long line of people with diabetes, different types of cancer, heart disease, and all this other stuff, you dig, like most of us do in reality at this point, you really want to pass that down to your babies? You really want to do that for your children? The idea is that each generation should be doing better than the last, right? And that don't mean just in financial progress or social standing, do it. That's supposed to mean in how we take care of ourselves. If when you know better, you do better, right? So if we educate ourselves and make steps to do better for ourselves, we're giving our children a platform up. And even if you don't have your own children, whatever generation, next generation of people you are around, because everyone is around some, whether it be your friends, people you teach, other members of your family, whatever the case may be, we set the framework, we set the platform, we give them the step up, or are responsible for the lack of the step up, right, for the future generations. So all these things come into play when people are deciding how they fit and eat and fuel their bodies. I personally choose not to do anything just because it feels good, because I like it, you know, it's nice. I'm not begrudging nobody who do. A lot of people out here rocking it till the wheels fall off, and that's cool. That's everybody's choice, and it's a lot of fun. I'm not knocking it, you know, make your choice. for me personally, it's got to be more than that. You know, you got to be bringing something to the table, whether you a person or a food group or whatever the case is. It's got to be giving me more than it feel good. I like that. It tastes nice for me to take it into me, for me to consume that, right? So that's why I choose to eat the way that I do, which again, like I said, my daughter and I eat entirely plant-based. That's whole food plant-based, right? So we don't do any refined sugars at all. My daughter gave that up this past year, which I'm real happy about. We don't do no processed foods, no refined sugars. We don't do no animal products of any kind. We try to cook all our own food. We do step out every once in a while to have some food from a place, from a restaurant. We always prefer that it be a plant-based one, just because we know that people really fully understand and are empathetic to the way that we are eating, and we know the food is going to be clean by what our definition of clean is. A lot of y'all will be like, man, that sounds hard. That sounds like a lot. Like what do you eat? Don't overcomplicate shit, fam. Like, it's not that serious. Food is delicious, right? You wake up in the morning, you hungry, eat some fruit. You know, there's so many foods in the world, and people stuck on this loop. Chicken, fish, beef, chicken, fish, beef, chicken, fish, beef. I mean, obviously in other places like the Caribbean or whatever, you also have like a lot of goat. Some places out east you have like lamb and things like this. But here we just, you know, a lot of people are doing this little triangle. And you really limiting yourself, right? And so you just got to put some respect on it. Put some respect on the fact that for millions of years, the earth has been working on this whole situation that we see in front of us, right? It's been figuring out how exactly to package foods to make sure that different species get the nutrients they need and are able to find these things readily, right? Different animals see different colors so that different foods will appeal to them. They don't bother seeing other colors because it doesn't affect them and their livelihood, their nutrition, and their survival, right? So, like I said, just put some respect on it, on the earth, on the planet, on the fact that it's kind of worked all this shit out already, and also on your own self and on your own vehicle. You know, you have to do what's right for you. Again, I'm not telling nobody what to do and what not to do. You need to do your research. You need to figure out what resonates for you. You need to give things a dedicated and honest try, like wholly. And you need to figure out what works for you and what makes a difference in your health and what makes you feel better and increases your quality of life. You know, whether you ditching animal products or not, only eat whole foods. If you out here like following stuff because it's a trend, and that's another thing, y'all should not be eating something or not eating something simply because it's trendy or one or two persons told you to or to not to. Y'all should not be doing things just because your mommy and your grandmama and your auntie all did it. Y'all need to have your own minds. You need to know why it is you're doing what you're doing and figuring out if that's really what you want to be doing for real. You know, a lot of it comes down to the fact that we need to detox our organs and reprogram our taste buds. You know, again, to bring back to the, even if you're eating plant-based, if you're eating processed foods, you're taking in empty calories, right? You're doing something that ain't really offering you nothing but a little bit of happiness in your mouth, you know, and this heavy sensation in your intestines, in your gut that you've come to associate with satiation, with fulfillment, when that's really not what that is. You just heavy. Let's see what else. Oh yeah, the tradition of survival and adaptation versus traditions of health and healing. So again, to circle back to the fact that a lot of us, you know, there ain't nothing wrong with doing things the way that you were taught to do them. That's the way you was taught to do them. I'm hip. I dig it. I understand. But at some point, you got to take stock of what's going on, figure out if that's really benefiting you to the utmost, if that's giving you the results that you really want for yourself, helping you live the life that you really want to be living, and you need to take it from there. You know, some of us are out here taking toxic traditions and poor nutrition, and not only are we embracing that in our own lives, but we geared up and ready to pass that on to the next generation, right? And we out here wondering why heart disease, blood pressure, diabetes, and all these cancer and all these other things, why they just steady growing and going, despite, you know, pharmaceutical treatments and pills and all this other shit. Fam, you got to really think about this stuff. Just because it's how it's always been done doesn't mean that's the way it's got to continue. Establishing new traditions that honor and reflect the actual, you know, we just going back a few generations and saying, well, we always done ate this. No. Three, 4 generations is not always, my guy. You know, we've been around for a long time. My whole thing, in addition to following the natural order and respecting that to allow me to achieve optimal health and longevity in this vessel that I have, is also to, you know, respect the fact that not only has nature been figuring out all of this for us, packaging various nutrients together, you know, and all these other things in ways that are easy for us to find and all this stuff, you know, but a lot of it is also respecting the fact that we had ancient ancestors who, regardless of what we may have heard, and again, I encourage everyone to do their own research, did not. I mean, look at, again, these teeth are not carnivorous teeth. You know, our bodies would have been equipped differently. The length of our intestinal tract. You know, these types of things. These are all factors that we need to consider and think about when we're deciding how our ancestors, or you know, remembering then how our ancestors ate, our ancient ancestors, and using that as a gateway or a jumping point or a justification for new decisions that we're making. A lot of times what I find funny, and this is in all different aspects of society that I'm watching, you know, a lot of times when people come out with something new, start doing some new shit to improve on some shit, it's really some older than old shit. And we just pulling it out and people forgot about it. And now it's new. And I can package it and I can sell it and market it, and you could consume it not just with your mouth but with your money, right? So we gotta stay hyped to game and pay attention and make a... Now, one thing I want to talk about too, when you're going to make changes in your diet, whatever changes you're looking to make based on where you're at in your life, where you want to be, what your goals are in terms of for yourself and your health, all of these things. When you're going to make these changes now, slow, sustainable change is always the way to go. This is what I tell everybody. Making small changes that you know you can stick to, or that you're more likely to stick with and see through, so that you can see the benefits, these are the best changes to make, because these will give you the motivation to make more changes, right? If you try and change everything all one time, you're going to get frustrated, most likely. You're going to feel defeated, most likely. And you finna give up, most likely. You're going to relapse and fall back on these old behaviors or these ways of convenience, right, that you've been programmed with, or that are just, you know, because we inundated with processed food in this culture in the United States and in a lot of other developed nations too. Slow, sustainable change, again, edit that. Slow, sustainable change, however, allows you to, like, say, if you drink soda pop, say, I'm not going to cut all refined sugars out because that's harder than a mug. I'm going to tell you right now, if you eat any type of packaged food, not eating stuff with sugar and refined sugars in it is damn near impossible. Say at first you like, I want to stop drinking soda because you drink a lot of pop. If you're able to do that for 30 days, the differences that you'll see in your health, physically, on the outside and on the inside, will be great enough, I promise you, to encourage you to do something a little bit more. I want to stop this. Take that one thing out. Stick to it. Get used to it. Never say to yourself, that's all I'm cutting out, right? Because why limit yourself? If you see that when you make a change, things get better, don't just settle on that step. You dig? Like, you got a whole staircase to climb. You should not take a step up and then just settle on that hoe like that's the goal. Nah, fam. Celebrate that step. That's cool. Hang out on that step for a little bit, but keep your ass moving. If you're trying to achieve optimal health and longevity in your body, You can't just settle. You can't just stop. Slow, sustainable change is the way, but you have to be progressive with it. It has to keep moving. When you don't do that, you plateau. You are like, what's the point, right? Because yeah, you like, again, to circle back to the soda situation. You've been drinking soda for however long, since you was like 4 or some shit, maybe earlier. You stop drinking the soda, you're gonna find that you're experiencing less bloating. If you have issues with, like say you're like pre-diabetic, that's gonna help that situation a whole lot. There are all these different things that cutting off something like that is gonna make a big difference in. But if that's all you're doing, and after you do it for a month and you see the progress and you excited, you happy, like, girl, I lost this many pounds or whatever the case may be, if that's where you stop, and if you stop there for too long, you finna be like, but that's it? Yeah, that's it, because you ain't do no more work. Y'all a trip. Ain't nothing fast that's worthwhile. Don't nothing that stay around come quick. That's just, it take work. Everything take conscientious effort. Everything is energy. You get out what you put in, if you lucky. So, slow, sustainable change is always definitely the way to go. You don't want to set yourself up for failure. You don't want to give yourself any illusions about what that one change was, right? Or how difficult the rest of it will be. Give yourself something manageable to work on, to do, see the effects, and then try something else, right? That's the ticket to making those changes on a real tip. Now, one of the key things is that, like I had mentioned this a little bit earlier, you really need to decide, evaluate first what it is you're doing with your health, what it is you're eating, and why are you eating it. Do you eat the way you eat because that's how your people eat? Do you eat the way you eat because you like the marketing for that shit? Popeye sandwiches and all that other shit? Like, why are you eating what you eat? Again, to circle back to my own self, to toss out my perspective, I'm not eating something just because it tastes good. I know chocolate cake tastes good. I'm a baker. I could bake some good ass, even vegan, chocolate cake. I don't want no motherfucking empty calories, so I ain't eating no chocolate cake. Chocolate cake don't have shit to offer me. But sugar is poison. It's not good for me. That's not serving me none. That's not helping me reach my goals, increase my longevity, keep my body clean, right? Know what you're eating and why you're eating it. Evaluate what you've been doing already, and then take some time with yourself. Again, with yourself, do the research, listen to different opinions, look up some different YouTube videos. I know all of y'all don't love reading. They got documentaries on Netflix now about health and wellness and nutrition. They got stuff all over the internet that you could watch. Now, I also recommend that you read. Reading is important. I know some of y'all don't love it, but you could want to give it a go. It ain't finna hurt you none. Be clear and be honest with yourself. Give yourself something to stand on. You dig? It's like, people be like, man, it must be so hard to eat how you eat. But it's not. For me, granted, I'm a long time into this, right? I'm 20 years into evaluating what I eat and trying out different things and working out what works for me and things like that, right? I've been paying attention to this for a while and evaluating it for a while. You got to give yourself something to stand on. What is it that you're doing? Are you eating just cause? Are you just rocking until the wheels fall off? If you are, that's cool. Like I said, I don't care. Drink your Pepsi and eat your Slim Jims and your Ho-Hos and shit. I don't give a fuck. Do what makes you happy. But know what you're doing. Know why you're doing it. Know that it's a conscious choice that you are making, right? That's all. That's all that I'm saying. And please don't come to me complaining about your disease and your discomfort when your choices are what's resulting in that and you're aware of it. Now, if you're not aware of it yet, cool. I'm not begrudging you. I'm not judging you. If you're making those choices, I still ain't begrudging or judging, but I don't want to hear you complain because you knew better. That was a choice that you made. Everyone makes a choice. Make your choice consciously. Decide what you want for yourself and then follow through. Like I said, give yourself something to stand on. Put some respect on it. So, and the next thing is, after you decide how you want to be eating or why you want to be eating, whether it's for yourself, for your family, to address health issues you're struggling with or health issues you just trying to not even be bothered having to deal with, set yourself up for success, right? You want to make sure that you're taking yourself serious. If you don't take you serious, ain't no one finna take you serious. If you ain't really about your goals, ain't no one else finna be about your goals. You're not just gonna be healthy because you decided you wanted to be healthy and you ain't finna put no work into it. You want to feel better, you need to do better. You want to do better, you need to know better. Like I said, do some reading. Set yourself up for success in terms of shopping. You got to do your own shopping. You got to do your own cooking. If you don't got time to do your own cooking, you need to set yourself up with a trustworthy and reliable meal service company. You know, there's a lot of them out there. There's individuals like myself who will locally do meal preps and planning for you. Whatever it is that you need to do to make sure that you are being honest with yourself about what you want. Because if you say, oh, I want to eat better, girl, I want to do better, feel better, and all this stuff, but then, you know, you eating chips and cookies on your lunch break because that's what was available to you, was you either lying to yourself right then or you lied to yourself when you said you wanted to be doing better and eating better. Be honest with yourself and hold yourself accountable. Accountability is sorely lacking nowadays across the board. I'm not sorry. If you're not going to hold yourself accountable, that's on you. You really should be cooking your own food. You know, again, like I said, there's individuals like myself and big major companies that you could get in touch with on the internet that ship these frozen meal preps and stuff like that. And that's all cool and well and good. But in reality, there is a beauty in discovering what it is that you love to eat and different flavor combinations of food, whether they're raw or cooked. You really get in tune and in touch with your food. When you cooking and you touching it and you know, people eating out all the time, got strangers touching their food. I mean, some of y'all out here eating out 3 meals a day. Everything you eat is coming from somebody else's hands. Now, you don't know what that person's going through, what they feeling, what they experiencing that day, that moment as they doing your food. You know, and I mean, from a physical standpoint, you don't know if their hands is clean, if the kitchen is clean. You dig? You don't know if their heart is clean and pure at that moment. They got no concept most of the time, 99.999% of the time. They don't care who they cooking for. They doing a job. They trying to get paid so they could pay their bills and they could survive on that level, in that capacity. They not thinking about imbibing that food with care and love and blessings of health and wellness and prosperity. These are things that you have the power to do for yourself. If you take the accountability, if you take the time, if you put in that energy, right, to make all that possible, that's there for you. You just have to make it. You just have to make it happen, Captain. Yep. Slow, sustainable change. Once again, I got that in my notes like 4 times because that shit is really real, y'all. Like I said, I've been slowly working toward where I am right now in terms of health and wellness and nutrition for 20 years, dead ass. None of it was really rushed at all. Sometimes I would backtrack and fall back into eating certain things, decide that that's not making me feel good. I don't like the way my body smell. I don't like the way my body feel. I would imagine that, you know, my partners would prefer the way that I taste now than the way I tasted then. Like, these things are really real. And things that should be factored in and considered when you're making these decisions for yourself. You know, a lot of it too, like the title of the podcast says, it's about perspective and it's about shifting our perspectives. You know, we've come to see food as this social experience, this pleasurable experience. It's just supposed to be about what tastes good. I mean, they put things in our food, these processed foods, you know, that do shit to our brains, right? When you eat sugar, it's activating the same chemical receptors in your brain as cocaine. When you eat dairy cheese, cow cheese, and all these other animal product cheeses, that attaches to the same chemical receptors as heroin. They just released a study about that sometime in the last week or so. You know, there's a reason why there are certain things that are hard for you to let go of. There are certain things that you love to eat, and it's because it's doing shit to you chemically in your brain, right? Are you going to let those things make those choices for you? Or are you going to make those choices on your own? If you're asking me for my perspective on health and nutrition in order to achieve optimal health and wellness in your life and in your body, like I said earlier, I'm going to go with whole foods, no matter who you are or what you're eating, right? You should not be eating processed foods. You should be cooking your own damn food. Stop being so goddamn lazy. Learn something. It's good for you. You don't want to cook a lot, eat raw food. It's better for you anyway most of the time. So again, whole foods no matter what. If you're looking for optimal health and longevity, you want to go plant-based. Again, they got stuff like that Game Changers documentary on Netflix. Had a lot of really good science in it. A lot of it I already knew, but to have it all compiled in one space, that's a really good resource for some of y'all. Y'all might want to look that up if you ain't watched it already. Read some books about this stuff too. They also came out with a recent study sometime in the last month in terms of how eating animal products versus being plant-based affects the quality of men's sperm. Ladies, it affects your reproductive health as well. The things that we eat affect every single piece of us. You are what you eat, that old adage, that's real. That's literal. You are literally what you eat. It affects everything about your person, from how you feel to how you look, to how you live, to what you will struggle with or never have to deal with. The decision is yours. The power is in your hands. I definitely suggest consuming a lot of fruit. As mammals, that's primate mammals, as they would call us in terms of scientific categories, fruits is going to be our go-to thing. How excited do you think our ancestors were walking around when they would see fruit on a tree? That's what we're supposed to be eating. I would say eat a lot of fruit. Hit up people like Chocolate Bars on Instagram, fruitsandroots.com. I'll put those links down underneath. You can order exotic tropical fruits from them. Some of the proceeds go to really good social causes, so you're doing good for the world while you're doing good for yourself. Things like this, eating raw at least once a day, even if you're doing, mostly cooked foods and things like this, you need to eat at least one raw meal a day if you're trying to give your body adequate nutrition, a chance to clean itself out, a chance to get, optimize on the nutrients available in the food. Because a lot of times when we cooking foods, we deaden a lot of that. We changing chemical structures and everything, molecular structures and everything else. These things matter. Now, some things are better off cooked. Tomatoes, mushrooms. Some of these things we get more out of when we cook them. But those things really, in the grand scheme of things, are few and far between. Eat some raw food. But that salad shit. But a salad could be anything. My video about to run out. So what we say, whole foods no matter what. Plant-based for optimal health and longevity. Eat a lot of fruit, y'all. Some raw food in your life, at least one time a day. Drink water, right? Oh, that's the other thing I'm going to circle back to. The 6 essential nutrients for the human body to survive are water, right? What we got? Vitamins, minerals, proteins, fats, and carbohydrates. All of these things are readily available in what? Fruits and vegetables. In the plant food. You dig? Get you some plants in your life. Go ahead, because my thing about to cut me off. No way. I know that I had a limit. I got a limit. Underneath here, leave any questions, comments that you might have. The next two podcasts that I'm going to have coming up, one is fitting to be about physical fitness. Again, we're doing this health and wellness thing. The next one is going to be about youth and sexuality. I'm going to touch on some of this D-Wade nonsense that's been circling around. I had it on my podcast list to do much later on in my series. I'm going to do it now-ish because, it's trending. Y'all talking about it. I'm finna give you my perspective because that's what we're doing. All right, guys. I hope that you have a great day. I hope that you enjoyed this, at least to some extent. I went a little over a half hour. That's not so bad. We did all right. I don't know. Let me know what you thought. If it's worth liking, commenting, and sharing, I encourage you to do so. Please subscribe so you don't miss the next ones. I promise you they will get better. And if you have anything that you want to ask or add to the 2 upcoming podcasts, either the physical fitness and optimizing on your health and taking care of your body and your vehicle, or the youth and sexuality one that we're going to fit in to do, you let me know. Send an email, leave a comment, whatever the case is. You can hit me up on Instagram or Facebook at BhadraKali. Those links will be underneath here also. If you're looking for resources and videos to watch, I'm going to push Dr. Sebi, SEBI. Watch some of my man, see what you think, at least take it into consideration. Like I said, there's endless amounts of information about alkaline diets, vegan diets, ITIL food, plant-based food, whole food, plant-based eating. You know, the categories are endless because they're trying to market to you. Just make sure that you're doing your research. Look into it. Learn something new today, God. All right, family. Stay blessed. I'll talk to you next time. Peace.